Uh,
never seen or heard before, because I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I think you really need to know if you want your first 1,000 subscribers.
uh,
I'm going to break down how many views it actually takes to get your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and why you need to use the 1%, something you've probably never even heard of. I'm going to tell you how to
Why do I keep overshooting it? God dang it.
people can get into real estate given the economy, the markets, and what's going on in the world is I always recommend taking a simple real estate investment course. Poor dad always said to me, go to school and get a high-paying job. That's not wealth. That's a job. You can get fired, you know. And then my rich dad always says, work for assets. So there's basically 4 asset classes that makes a person rich, and there's lots of more, the subheadings and all this. But number 1 is a business. The richest young guys today start companies. It's called Facebook, Google, Apple, stuff like that, you know. Number 2 is real estate. So what my rich dad taught me is a combination of being an entrepreneur in business and entrepreneur in real estate. It's that combination is I pay no tax, and I make a lot more money. Okay, so a lot of guys say, well, I have a business. I say, well, how much real estate you got? Without real estate, you pay tax. That's the problem. And then there's paper, which is stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and savings. That's what most people should be in. The reason savings are good, made paper is good, like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, are liquid. You make a mistake and get in and out real quick. Called liquid. The trouble with these two, you make a mistake, you're there forever. Can't get in and out. So that's why you got to be very smart before you go in. And the last is commodities. And, that's why I own oil. And as the price of oil goes down, people say, are you losing money? I said, no, because in the U.S., if you deal in oil, you get tax breaks. So I invest $1 million in oil, I get $800,000 back. So I get 80% return day 1. So oil is very, very profitable. That's what, but I don't invest in oil stocks. Very different. Okay, so if oil goes to $20 a barrel, I'm still cash flowing, I'm still making money. So it's at about 40 right now. Hope it doesn't go too much farther, but I still make money, okay? And then the other commodities, there's 4 precious metals. What the 4 are: gold, silver, guns, bullets, okay? That's why I live in Arizona, not California. California, they don't let you carry guns. Everybody in Arizona carries. And the reason for that is because you have something, something's gold and silver is God's money. It's money made by God. And then in 1971, the U.S. government under President Nixon took God's money and turned it into man-made money. Never in the history of the world has this ever happened. In 1971, the U.S. and Nixon convinced the entire world to replace gold and silver with paper money. This stuff. Cash.
Hello, welcome to my stream.
So the reason we have so much volatility in
I'm
the world
doing
today
some Ride 3 DLCs right now.
Since the time of the Romans and the Greeks and the French and the English and the Germans,
Type in chat if you can hear me.
They have taken God's money, like silver here, and replaced it with man-made money. There's been economic volatility. Now the problem is, so the dollar is going to keep dropping. So one of the reasons I can predict what's going to happen is I can predict the dollar will keep dropping simply because the U.S. government and now the euro, the European Central Banks, are printing so much of this trash. So you'll see gold going up in price, oil going up in price, real estate going up in price, because this is trash. So that's what happened in 1971, has happened throughout history. And the reason this current election doesn't make any difference is the only person they can put this back in place is a strong, charismatic leader. People like Julius Caesar, Napoleon. That's why they were such great leaders, was they actually replaced this with this. So there will be more this printed than ever before, which means the dollar keeps coming down, other things keep going up. And And that's really what's going to happen. It's predictable. And eventually this will go to its true worth, zero. So all of you savers out there and people trying to save this trash, you're going to lose big time. And to me, I've been saying this for a number of years now, silver is the biggest opportunity I have ever seen, bigger than real estate, bigger than anything else. And silver, as we're talking today, 2008, is about $15 an ounce. There's less than 10 years supply worth of silver on planet Earth. The difference between gold and silver is gold is hoarded, silver is consumed. Silver is an industrial precious metal. It is used in cell phones, telephones, computers, electric lights, everywhere. The more information age we become, the more we use silver. And what Michael is saying is that stockpile is at all-time lows, and they're not discovering much more. Poland has about 25% of the world's silver, so buy real estate silver in Poland, But anyway, so when people say, where am I investing? I say, I'm investing in the world. I say, what do you mean by that? I said, I'm investing in a metal that is consumed throughout the world. So I buy a little gold, but I've been buying silver. Kim and I have been buying silver since it was about $4 an ounce. And we stockpile it. We buy ETFs. We buy anything we can in that stuff. And then, it was, $7? Then all of a sudden now it's 15, and we're just watching. It's not crystal ball, It is not about, the stuff on television. It is pure supply, demand, economics, fundamentals. As I said, there's 2 billion people wanting the Western lifestyle. 2 billion people wanting cell phones, computers, electricity, life, all of this stuff. So I look at it as $15 an ounce. I think I'll wait. Well, I remember when it was $3, and $3.50, then $3.70, then $4, and then I said, yep, the bottom has been hit. The thing is trending up. Most financial experts want you to believe that investing is risky. Well, Rich Dad Company says investing is not risky. What is risky is not improving your financial intelligence or your financial IQ, having no financial education. So let me give you a few examples. There's 2 basic types of investors. One is fundamental. I would say Warren Buffett is a fundamental investor. That's income, expense, assets, liabilities. Most people, since they can't read a financial statement, really don't understand the fundamentals. And that's what the cash flow game teaches people, is how to be fundamentals. We also, and that's Cash Flow 101, we have a game called Cash Flow 202. Cash Flow 202 is called technical investing. We all know markets go up and markets go down. Markets go up and markets go down. So the reason the average person thinks investing is risky is because prices go up and then they lose everything. Prices go up and they lose everything. The reason investing is risky is that to be a professional investor, whether it's fundamental or technical, Cash Flow 101 or the 202 game, is you have to use insurance. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you do not drive a car without insurance. You don't buy a house without insurance. Yet the average person putting their money in a stock or a mutual fund or a bond, they don't have insurance. That's what's risky. If you're going to be a professional investor, you have to understand markets go up and down. That's not news. But when markets are up, you buy an insurance policy here in case it goes down. For some people, that's called a put. Or you can put a stop. In real estate, my banker requires me to have disaster insurance. So the point here, ladies and gentlemen, is that investing is not risky. It's taking advice from people who don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time, or people who don't sell you the insurance. That's risky. To put yourself in a stock or a mutual fund without insurance is absolutely risky. It's no more sense than buying a car and not having insurance. So, ladies and gentlemen, investing is not risky. Being financially not sophisticated, not educated, and taking advice from people who also believe investing is risky is the riskiest part of investing. Most financial experts will say, invest for the long term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, funds, and mutual funds and ETFs. That's horrible advice. The only people that financial advice makes rich are the guys selling you that advice. Investing for the long term in a well-diversified stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETF worked as long as the markets were going up. If the markets are going down, it's going to wipe you out. But remember this, following that advice, investing for the long term in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs doesn't make you rich. It makes the guy selling you stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. The way young people can get into real estate, given the economy, the markets, and what's going on in the world, is I always recommend taking a simple real estate investment course. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I was kind of the Antichrist because I said your house is not an asset. I always say the best real estate deal should be less than 1 hour from your house because real estate is management intensive. It's not like a stock. When people say, well, I don't have money to invest in real estate, well, you're not supposed to use your money. That's what the bank's money is for. You see, that's what they should teach you in school. How to use other people's money and use debt to get rich, and how to not pay taxes legally. See, taxes are different for different people. You see, the tax code are incentives telling you what the government wants you to do. You invest in a stock, you don't get too many tax breaks. They need people like me to invest in apartment houses to provide housing. So I get huge tax breaks for investing in housing. But if I bought my own house, I get nothing. So when I said to young people like you, I said, don't do what the old guys did. You know, don't con the government. Don't take it so easy. And look at this as the greatest challenge of all. And if you can, buy a fourplex. You rent one out, right? Inside out, even if it's small. But you get 3 other people contributing to your mortgage payment. To me, that's smart. And on top of that, you get appreciation, depreciation, amortization, tax breaks. So your paycheck, you pay no tax on it. But you got to be smart. And you never needed money to be a rich person. You need this to get rich. So all of you have a very good brain if you can train to use it. But if you're trained to look for a job, you'll find a job. If you're trained to look for a deal,
Gold and Bitcoin will crash when the world finds a COVID vaccine that works. This is according to my guest today. He is Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he joins me now on my brand new show here at Stansberry Research. Robert, I am so happy to see
and I will be going to pick up the check. I can't begin to tell you how much more relieved I feel knowing that I can get help with this burden without going deeper into debt. And all I have to do is, listen to this, be patient, be organized, and willing to be vulnerable. That's it. Nobody wants to help a smartass. So if you go and acting like, I know everything, and you better help me, and things like that. See, the headline of this, I said, start yelling at the bureaucrat. That was a joke. I hope you got that. Because the more you yell at these people, the less you're going to get, So you can't yell at people. They're getting the same paycheck. It's stupid. You're stupid, like I'm sure, and I do that. I did that on some bank person who, just frustrates the hell out of me. That poor person did. But she's just reading from the goddamn screen. I was trying to solve a problem, and every time I'd say, no, but she'd give the same answers, and I just got pissed. So it's normal. But if somebody has the power, and particularly the money, you're not going to beat them. I think the best advice to anyone applying for relief or a loan is to get super focused and have their papers organized for cold calling. You hear that? For cold calling. You got to call. Everybody wants to know that, I'll just find this website and fill out this form. I'm going to check next Thursday. If I don't, I'll find another. No, cold calling. I sometimes use a script to be sure I get to say everything I want without wasting the representative's time. So you write down, maybe after you call one or two of these organizations that may help you, and you write down, what you really should be saying, because they'll tell you, after you talk to one or two, are you this, are you that, or whatever. So in your opening statement, you could save a lot of time for everybody. When you speak with people requesting funding or relief, you will be asked to provide an accounting of your expenses. I recommend putting this together in a list on a spreadsheet, whatever it is. I mean, you put it on toilet paper, as long as you have a list. You don't have to know where the spreadsheet is, okay? Okay. You also can move things along by running all your documentation through a scanner. You have a scanner? Be helped. The library has one, but maybe they're not open. Kinko's and things like that. Or call one or two first and see what it is. She's been doing this. Saving it to a file on your computer and creating a separate folder for each item. For example, lease, IDs, tax return. That's probably the kinds of things they want to see. Okay, so you're all set with that. But like I say, you may want to call one or two first to see the kinds of things that. Make sure you rename each file to make it easy for the person looking at the documents. In other words, just a file of stuff. What is the stuff? No. So each document has a file. IRS form, let's go. Lease, let's go. Whatever. Okay. Lastly, as I dig deeper into some government websites, I am seeing that it's possible to schedule an appointment online. I can't say this enough, okay? So you dig in there, you can get an appointment online. Thank heaven for Matthew Lesko. My mother wrote this. Who would have ever thought that help can come from contacting government agencies and local charities that are actually, listen to this, ready, willing, and able to offer us grants. If you think about it, it's incredible. I think it's incredible too. Now, how do I convince people? What it is, I can't convince people because you'll hear me say that, and then people go out and make one phone call, they didn't get it checked out. Screw this, man. Now, you have nothing better to do unless you're making a fortune doing something else. Yeah. If you're not making a fortune doing something else, man, this is all you should be doing. Because the worst case is you're learning how to use today's information society. You have to learn that to succeed in anything. You can't think the web. See, that's why marketing and salesmen are so bad in this country, because they make you believe, just do these 7 things and you're going to... No, you're going to have to do 50 things. And over and over and over again. That's the only way. I mean, just think of anything you really tried to do hard in life. You go out and play, you want to start for the baseball team. You're shitty. Well, I want to play the first thing. No, you can't do that. And you learn, and see, what I saw, in growing kids.
Hello, welcome to my stream. This is my dog, Sadie. She's just chilling right now. I am doing some races in the Extreme Naked Bikes DLC. I wish I had a better turning car or motorcycle, because this one, I'm just gonna go with the Virus. I mean, that's what I've been going with. It's not the great at turning though, which is a little annoying. Like sometimes, like the handling is not determined; it's just determined by what the bike is. Like the handling can be like bad and it can still be good at turning, and sometimes the handling can be good and it can still be bad at turning. But that's what it is. My dog isn't facing the camera, so I took it off of her for now. But the loading screens are like too long for this game. I wonder if they're faster with the PS4 Pro or PS5. I can't wait for PS5 because it'll be fast loading. But I don't know if I'm getting it on release. Probably get it. You always have to do the settings at the beginning. I don't know why they don't have a setting where you can apply it. Like when you go to apply setup, it just says you don't have any setups for that bike, so it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't even know how you can get a pre-made setup. And honestly, it's so weird because the number one thing in determining your speed is your handling. Because if you're taking forever to turn, you're slowing down while you're turning, which is really annoying. So if you have a good turning, then that's probably the best thing you can do for your times. See, like I lose a shit ton of time because I'm taking time turning. I usually smoke them by about a couple seconds though. Sometimes by like 30 seconds. Whoa, shit. Ooh. I played almost every track. I have to stream on my PlayStation because my computer turns off every now and then, which is real annoying because I can't do the full screen. But if I did it on my PC, I could see all the comments without turning it off. Dang, I was fast. What is that? 150. 157. I wanna hear you. At least this is only 2 laps. Have to go back into this one DLC that has like 2 really hard time trials. I miss them by like 10 seconds, and it's like really frustrating, but I might get them eventually. If it wasn't for this time trial, this game would be super easy. Time trials. And that's done. And that's done. Why is there an echo? Why is there an echo? Why is there an echo? Oh, they get it. Oh, yeah. Sadie, oh, girl. Sadie, girl. Girl, girl.
completely end suffering. And I know that's a lofty claim to make, but once you really understand this cycle and understand how your mind works, it's not really that difficult. It's just a matter of time until it happens. Okay, it can happen very, very quickly. This was something that was important to me because I saw in my journey in growing my business, I was always suffering. You know, my attachments and my expectations and what's happened in the past, what's happening in the future, it always caused me suffering. And the more I suffered, the more it reflected out, and the business suffered too. So what I want to really share with you here is how to live your life in a sustainable manner, but also how to take control of your own life and not be subject to your imagination and what's happening in your mind and all this overthinking. Okay, and just sustainably get to a level of success and be able to maintain it. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery Program. Make sure you wait around till the end of the video to hear the announcement on how you can sign up for this free consult and what this consultation call really is. And with that, let's get started. So in this video, I want to talk to you about controlling your mind and ending this suffering cycle, okay, and why suffering actually happens. Now, recently I've been reading this book. It's called I'm That by Maharaj Nisargadatta, and it's on Amazon. You can probably buy it. But it was a very, very interesting book, and it's probably been the most eye-opening book I've read in 2020. Like, that's for sure. But it's also a very, very dangerous book. I wouldn't encourage everyone to read it, but you have to have a certain level of spiritual, emotional maturity, mental maturity as well before you read it, because you can misinterpret it and just become like a nihilist. And while it can be perceived as bad, not everyone's ready for it, right? If you're probably watching this video right now, you are watching this for a reason, and this book has come your way for a reason. So what I started to notice when I was reading that book was, you know, a lot of contradictions were coming to surface, right? You read one idea and you know one idea to be true, and then it contradicts it, but then you let these ideas sink in, and then they start to make sense once you start to apply them and you actually inquire within, right? So what I've started to notice, and what I really found out within the past couple of months, is that suffering happens because of this identification to that which is not real, okay? So identification with the unreal causes and is the root cause of suffering. What do I mean by that? Anything that you're seeing right now around you, this hand, this chalk, it's not really real, right? None of this stuff is real. It's unreal. Because by the definition of reality, reality is that which never changes. If something is changing, it's not really real, right? Just because you can see it, sense it, and perceive it doesn't necessarily make it real, okay? So if you were to think about it this way, in your dream, if you return to the same atmosphere, the same environment, the same people, every single night you had a recurring dream with all of these things that just never changed, that would appear to you real, right? So this reality that you're perceiving in waking, in consciousness, if you will, is another form of unreality. It's just another form of a dream, okay? When people realize this, they just, they lose it. They're like, oh shit, so what's the point of anything? I'll show you what the point of anything is. But understand for now that this identification with that which is not real is what causes this suffering. Because if you get identified with something that's always and constantly changing, you're going to suffer, right? Because you're going to expect it to stay the same and just be like this for the rest of your life. But when it's not, then you're going to suffer, right? And understand that there's a difference between pain and suffering. Okay, pain is this indicator of danger that's impending for the body. Okay, if there's danger in the body, you will feel pain. Suffering is danger in the mind. Okay, when there's impending danger to the mind, then you suffer, because this is an indicator of you just getting attached to that which is not real. Okay, if you want to influence your reality, if you want to become a master of your reality, you've got to understand what reality really is. Right? You've got to step back past the illusion and be able to identify with that which is real, okay, and have a reference point. It's kind of like being able to control a dream and having a lucid dream. If you have a reference point for the dream and you truly realize, once you begin to realize that you're dreaming, now you gain control of this dream. So just like that, in this conscious awakening, if you start to realize that all of this is a dream and an illusion, Now you begin the power to dream and this illusion. Okay?
Hello,
Now,
what's up? Welcome to my
going back
stream.
to the concept of suffering, why suffering really happens is
My
because
dog's sleeping right there.
you start to identify with everything as me. Okay? There's pain that occurs in the body. You say, pain is happening in my body. And you just can't see anything.
Okay. Sometimes I overshoot it. God dang it. I have to keep rewinding it. Let's see. You have to really slow down a lot on this game.
But the pain. So this awareness gets tied into the body. The same thing with your thoughts. Any thought that you have that arises, your awareness gets tied into the thoughts. And because of that, awareness can't see itself, its true nature. It's focused and it's identified with the thought. So this thought arises as my thought. This is me. So everything that you see, this lens that arises, it arises as me. So when you start to think everything is you, and you falsely identify with that which isn't real, then you're bound to suffer. Okay? So please keep that in mind. You only suffer because you identify with every single thing as you. You know, you say, this is my house, this is my car. When the car goes away, when the house goes away, oh, this is my income level. When the income level goes away, then you suffer. Because you were, a part of you was attached to it, it was identified to it. So you lost your sense of self. And why this attachment happened is because you haven't truly found your sense of self. Like when you're born, all these memories come up in your body and, you know, all of these events happen, and then you start to identify with these. Awareness gets tied into these memories and all of these events, and awareness loses sight of itself, its true self. Okay, all of these things are your false self, right? This is getting like really meaty right now, but I just want you to pay close attention to this and just bear with me for a second while I explain this. So, in this diagram, we have what we call your self, your higher self, or your self, the true self. Then there's the mind, and then there's the body, right? These are all part, this is the barrier. What happens is when you're born, as you grow up, as you get accustomed to things, this self gets identified as the mind and as the body. It doesn't know how to experience its true self, right? This self is pure awareness. This is what we call pure awareness. So when you're born, and how the universe really came about, if you read ancient yogic texts, it began as nothingness. Nothingness evolved into awareness. Awareness evolved into consciousness. Consciousness evolved into the mind, and then the mind into the body. Okay? Nothingness, awareness, consciousness, mind, body. These 5 stages. Now, within these 5 stages, so you might be wondering, what's the difference between awareness and consciousness? Consciousness is a temporary state, right? You have a state of consciousness. Just because you can remember what you had for dinner last night, you say you're conscious. But it doesn't mean you weren't aware. So bear with me while I explain this. You can remember you had dinner last night, so you can say you were conscious. But just because you can't remember what you had for dinner 2 nights ago, doesn't mean you weren't conscious. You were conscious at the time, right? But you just can't remember it. So we tie in our memory to consciousness. So this is what I mean. Consciousness is a state of change. You can be conscious at one point, but not be conscious at another, and just do things unconsciously. So consciousness is that which observes the mind and the body, right? But that which observes consciousness itself, the background for consciousness, is what we call awareness. Awareness is the background on which all of these things occurred. So, to understand this a little bit better, you can be aware of consciousness, but you can't be conscious that you're aware. You can be aware that you're conscious at this moment. So really try this. Right now, at this very moment, you can be aware that you're conscious, but you cannot be conscious of being aware. Okay? So this goes to show that the root, the source, is awareness. Right? Even this can be transcended. But I don't know how, so that's why I don't talk about it. What I do know is awareness, and being pure awareness. So that's why I can talk about that. So in understanding that, this self gets reflected into the mind as the thought I am. When you stop identifying I am my body, and I am this thought, and I am my car and material possession. And when that sentence isn't completed anymore, and you just realize, I just am. I am. When you realize that, this is the reflection of the self within the mind. When you have the thought, I am, and you feel, truly feel that I am, you get closer and closer to pure awareness. You aren't there yet, but you get closer and closer to it. So we're going to do an exercise by the end of this video to help you get in touch with that, a 4-step exercise, okay? But understand now that there's a self that gets reflected in the mind. Okay, between the self and the body is the mind, right? And in this mind, we get identified to the gross nature of things like thoughts, like things that we can see, because we can observe thoughts, and we can feel feelings, and we can touch things. Those are the things we get identified to. But things that are beyond the perception, the sensations, and the feelings is that we can't perceive, that is beyond perception. That's the self, right? So right now there's someone observing these thoughts and someone observing the observer of these thoughts. It's just not in your awareness, but it's still there. So it's like the clouds, but there's the sun. You can't see the sun because the clouds are over the sun. The mission is to uncover this sun, right? So in understanding this a little bit better, we go to the nature of thoughts, right? So we have the object, which is the thought itself. A thought arises. And then the action itself of thinking. I think this thought. And then there's this I behind the thinking, which is the subject. All of these happen in pure awareness. Awareness is like the paper. All of these things are like the ink. Right? What we don't understand is you can use the ink to understand the paper. You can use all of these as a ladder to pure awareness. And that's what we're going to do here. This is how the cycle of suffering ends. Thought, thinking, thinker. The solution to a restless mind is to go beyond the mind. The solution to a painful body is to go beyond the body. Right? So the solution to suffering and pain is to go beyond it. And what's beyond the mind and the body is awareness. It's when you become aware of it. So really think about it this way. When you start to observe something, you're no longer identified with it. When you have a really terrible thought, and then you sway with the content of that thought, you become identified with that thought. But when you start to no longer go with the content of your thought, right? When you no longer go with the content of your thought, then you start to become a little bit conscious of these thoughts. And you start to see a separation between the thought and the thinker. An interesting phenomenon happens here. Now you can choose to observe the thinker itself and the act of thinking. When you observe the thinker itself, the one that's thinking these thoughts, now you start to realize that this whole thing becomes a jumble. This whole thing becomes a huge jumble of just thinking. This whole thing just becomes one big thought. And now there's a separation, a true separation. And you start to see these as not you. When you just eliminate all of the false ideas that you had, that's enough for you to get to self-realization, right? That's enough for you to connect to this pure awareness. It becomes a temporary moment, but within time, as you keep practicing and inquiring more and more, this becomes the natural state, okay? So, the solution to all of this is to go beyond. How do we go beyond? In 4 simple steps. Let's try it out right now. Just take a pause and let's do this right now. So how we're going to do this is understanding awareness, consciousness, and mind. Okay? Awareness, consciousness, and mind. But going to go from the gross to the subtle, okay? Because that's the only way to go. It's difficult to go the other way around. You've got to climb the ladder. You can't just begin at the top, with this kind of thing at least. So when we begin at the mind, I ask you take a pause right now from whatever you're doing, and just take a pause and take an inventory of your thoughts. Don't go with the content of your thoughts. Just disregard what kind of content and where this thought is leading, but just watch the thought that comes up. And when you start to watch these thoughts, they become still, right? Automatically your mind becomes still. And then you ask, what's the next thought? The mind becomes stiller. So now that the mind is still, ask yourself, who's the thinker behind these thoughts? You watch the thought and the thinker behind the thought. And once this happens, this all becomes thinking. I'm just verbalizing this, by the way. Me verbalizing this to you means nothing unless you experience it for yourself. There is the thought, and now you're watching the thinker that's watching these thoughts. But someone is watching the thinker and the thought. Who is that? Thought and the thinker that's watching this thought. Who am I that's watching this thinker? I am. Who am I? The answer is just wordless, right? It's beyond words. This state of emptiness is closer to this than this or that, right? I can't really describe this in words, but it's just a state. This is a state. But the more you start to do this, and you start to peel back the curtains more and more and more, and you start to inquire everything, you start to inquire, like, who is it that's even observing this? Who's observing and making this video? Who's observing and looking at that mug? Who's observing and looking at that laptop? It's really difficult to describe in words, but what happens here is this self, instead of going to the mind, it turns back on itself. Awareness of awareness itself. Awareness of consciousness. Awareness of everything. Awareness now gets turned back on itself. This is the moment where everything ceases. Like all the thoughts, all the feelings, they cease. And you become I am. But even deeper than that is going beyond I am, when I am doesn't even exist. That's what Maharaj in the book called Supreme Reality. I don't know that yet, that's why I'm not talking about it. But what I do know is this. Experiencing this state of peace. Even this state of peace is a state of being. It's a state of consciousness. You go beyond that. You observe who's feeling that. So the 4 steps to doing this every single time are, number 1, you begin with watching the thought. Because sometimes you just get lost in the thought. Thought. Who's this thinker? Who's watching this thought? Number 3, who am I? And there's no answer. There's just bliss. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. I'm going to do a quick recap. There's not really much to talk about here. It's more to be experienced for yourself. So I urge you to just watch this video over and over again, understand the exercise, the procedure, and just go ahead and do it.
Now I see AI developing and transhumanism and more artificial things happening where people can blend their bodies with mechanical things, and I project that into the future and I think, oh my gosh, maybe this is really going to be that way after all. I think if we were smart enough to understand who and what we are and where we fit in this universe, we'll be very destructive. First of all, I don't think it'll succeed. I really think that we can tinker with the laws of nature only so far, till finally we'll blow it up and we'll cease to exist. We're not going to be these super creatures at all, but we will just cease to be able to reproduce, or that we'll kill each other or something like that. That's what I'm afraid will happen. So I think if humans really were as smart as they like to think of themselves, they would stand back and say, you know, we don't tinker with the building blocks of life. We just don't tinker with them because they're perfect as they are. They've lasted for hundreds of thousands, if not millions or trillions of years. You can argue over the length of time, but they're pretty good, and they show a great deal of intelligence and design and functionality that's far beyond anything that Einstein or any human could come up with. Why are we tinkering with this thing when we think, or I think, all we can do is mess it up?
Let this circle represent $1 million. This is what $10 million would look like. This is what $100 million would look like. And this is what $1 billion would look like. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, has a net worth of 117 times this number. And then there's you. You're probably working a job right now, one that you got from the degree that you studied for in university. You probably don't have much in savings. Your living expenses seem ridiculously high. You feel as though you're not paid enough. You have credit card debt that needs taken care of. Maybe you're a student, studying for a degree that you hope can land you a job that you hope can bring in some good money. You probably don't have any savings, only a pesky student debt hanging above your head. Wealth? Getting rich? That all seems like a distant dream. How did they do it, you ask yourself? Seeing all those millionaires, billionaires, especially the ones who got there at such a young age, it baffles you, it makes you angry. They got lucky, they were born into wealth. They cheated their way to the top. Money doesn't make them happy. Money is evil anyway. I'm not smart enough, I'm just unlucky. Those dreams you had of buying that mansion, your favorite sports car, paying off your mortgage, traveling around the world, they'll forever remain that way. Just dreams, nothing more, nothing less. You come to the harsh realization, it's a rigged game. It's been a rigged game from the start, and you're on the losing side of it. But what if I told you you were wrong? What if there was a way of getting there? An actual equation to wealth, a science behind the way money works. What if you didn't have to abandon those dreams of paying off your parents' mortgage or traveling around the world? Would you call me a liar for saying so? I promise that I'm not, and by the end of this video you'll understand. There's a side to the coin that you're not being shown. But I warn you, the road is tough. It's filled with struggle. It's filled with ups and downs. It will mean swallowing some difficult truths that the school system and society haven't told you yet. And let me be clear, there are many of you who will not make it to the end of this road. But for those of you that do, at the end of this road lies wealth beyond what you thought you could attain. At the end of that road lies the freedom of never having to worry about money again. So, are you with me? Still with me? Then let's not waste any more time. What do you really think about money? Is it something you work for? Is it earned or is it inherited? Is it the root cause of all evil? Are you desperate to have more of it? Have you been chasing it most of your life? Truth is, most of what you think about money has been influenced by your upbringing and environment. If you were born into a family that didn't have much money growing up, then you're more inclined to believe that you too will not grow up to have much money. Or perhaps you went on the complete opposite end and decided to make as much money as you can so that you will never be in that position again. The fact that your school didn't teach you much about this subject doesn't help things. And because of this, most of you are going to have false beliefs about money that aren't going to help you on this journey. Now stick with me here, because we're going to have to change the way you've been seeing money your whole life. Hollywood has always had a habit of depicting the wealthy and rich as evil, backstabbing, entitled, or corrupt individuals.
If you won't get me a squirrel, I'll get one myself.
Question is, have you bought into that stereotype? A recent report released by WealthX showed that of the world's ultra-wealthy, those that had a net worth of 30 million or more, 68% of them were self-made. And it seems like every other study backs up this conclusion. Warren Buffett? Self-made billionaire. Howard Schultz? Born in poverty. Oprah Winfrey? Born in poverty. Jeff Bezos? Self-made billionaire. Elon Musk? Self-made billionaire. Sarah Blakely? Self-made billionaire. What is it that these people know that you don't? Truth is, your equation is all wrong. Here's the two-dimensional equation that you've been taught. Money equals salary earned from a job. Past a certain point, the prospect of getting a job becomes the sole purpose of your education. So what's wrong with that, you ask? I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, you want to make money. A lot of it. And in as short amount of time as possible. If that is your goal, then this equation for generating money will never get you there. We all have one precious resource, the most important resource of all. And once it's gone, there's no way of getting it back. That resource is time. In a standard job, the amount of money you earn is dependent on the amount of time you put into that job. If you earned $20 an hour and worked 40 hours a week, it would take you nearly 24 years to reach a total of $1 million. But that is without subtracting any taxes or any expenses that you will incur over 24 years. And let's not forget that inflation would make your $1 million less valuable. The reality is that on a salary of $20 an hour, you can only really be a millionaire at an old age by living frugally. And most of that precious resource known as time has slipped through your fingers. You traded all that time for money, and it wasn't even a substantial amount either. So again, you ask yourself, how is it then that there are self-made millionaires and billionaires at such young ages? What makes them so different? And the truth is, they have a better equation than you. They have a way of understanding money that you haven't quite grasped yet. Pay very close attention now. Stop chasing money. In a capitalist society, the rules of the game are as follows. You are paid in proportion to the perceived value that you have. And the people that perceive your value, they are the market, the consumers of the economy. The market is you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, your country. People complain that football players are overpaid. But for players to be paid millions, there has to be a market for the football industry in the first place. People have to see the value in football in the first place for them to want to spend money on matches and merchandise. And if the market has a high demand for football, guess what happens to the players who are at the top of their game? They are paid generously for it. It's not about how hard you work. The cleaner that's sweating and tiring himself out every day is paid far less than the accountant sitting behind a desk. Why? Because the market perceives the value of what the cleaner does to be far less than the accountant. As harsh as it may sound, the cleaner can be replaced by anybody. It isn't difficult to learn how to do his job, and therefore the market will not pay him more than the accountant, the guy who spent years studying numbers, the guy who has saved his clients thousands on their taxes. But even so, we just discussed how getting a job isn't the right equation to amassing a great amount of wealth in a shorter period of time. So then how can we increase our perceived value? What is it about people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos that makes their perceived value so high? The first step to this equation of wealth is quite simple. If you want money, solve problems. If you take a second to digest this statement, you'll realize that just about all money runs from this basic premise. If it solves a problem, money will be thrown at it. If it's $1 million problem, then the solution will make you millions. If it's $1 billion problem, then the solution will make you billions. Think about all the problems that a site like Amazon solves. The hassle of going to a store, the hassle of having to wait weeks for a delivery, cheaper prices, and so on. Not to mention all the other companies that Amazon owns and the problems that those companies solve. Jeff Bezos helped solve $1 billion problem and was rewarded favorably for doing so.
I
If you've been chasing money, then you've been doing it all wrong. It sounds almost paradoxical, but if you want money, it isn't money that you should be looking for. You should be looking for problems, and more importantly, solutions to those problems. And once you've found that solution, make a business around it. Wait, so that's it? Just solve problems and money will appear? So I'm gonna have to create the next Amazon for me to be rich, or the next Facebook or Google? You've got to be kidding me, right? I don't even know how to code. I don't even have the money to start something of that scale. I don't even... Hold on. You're once more going into old patterns of thinking. Start with a problem. Always start with a problem. Listen to the market around you. What are people saying they don't like? What are people saying they wish existed? What are people saying frustrates them? What do people think is incredibly inconvenient? Is that a problem that you can solve? And also, is it a problem that is worth solving? The final step of this equation to wealth is finding a scalable solution to the problem. Your solution needs to affect a magnitude of people. Starting a restaurant, that's not scalable. You're constrained to the local area and the footfall of that area. But a franchise? Now that's more scalable. Is your solution a piece of software? Then that means once that software has been built, you can scale it infinitely online without needing to worry about things like production or shipping costs, as it's all done virtually. Good luck finding infinite scale with a job. But be careful. Does your solution require your time to generate money? Let's say you were a yoga teacher that charged $100 per hour. Congratulations, you only made yourself another job disguised as a business. There's only a certain amount of lessons that you can feasibly do in one day, and therefore your income is time-bound. But if you created an online yoga class that ran 24/7 with lessons you only had to create once, now that is scalable. Scaling your solution is critical here, so do not get lost on this point. Automation also plays an important role. Systems and processes will keep your business running like a smooth machine if implemented properly. If there is something in your business that you can outsource to somebody else, or hire an employee to do it for you, assuming it financially makes sense for you to do so, then do it. Tasking yourself with everything is a bad thing. As much as you may think you're the best, there's someone out there that can do a better job than you. Once you've found a solution, it's your job to make sure that solution can be accessed by everyone in your market. It's not about your ego, and it's not about what you're passionate about. The market doesn't care about your passions. So now that you have your profitable business running with the right systems and processes in place, it's time to move on and reap what you sowed. There are two likely paths you're going to face at this point. You either continue your business or cash in and sell it. This is the acquisition, the moment someone buys the solution that you spent years building a business around. This is Instagram being acquired by Facebook for $1 billion. This is PayPal being sold to eBay for $1.5 billion, of which $165 million went straight to Elon Musk's pocket, and the countless other liquidation events that happen across the world. This is where all the effort that you spent into building your company comes to fruition. And if you choose to continue running your business, well, there's a multitude of reasons for you wanting to do it. The company that you built will want to stick with your baby. Maybe you think you can add more value to the company and sell it down the line for more than it's currently worth. Perhaps that business runs passively in the background, so you don't have to do much to keep the wheels turning. Or maybe it's a combination of these three things. Either way, you did it. You solved a problem that the market wanted solving, and it rewarded you favorably for doing so. And so now I ask you, what was it all for anyway? For most of you, it was never about the money. Money is just a piece of paper, a number on a screen. Its value is only backed up by our belief in its value. From the very start, this was never about the money. Paying off the mortgage, buying your dream car, traveling around the world, never having to worry about your financial situation, it's the freedom that you were looking for. for. Your destination wasn't anything monetary related. It was a feeling, a sensation, the ability to do what you want whenever you wanted without ever having to cast a thought towards, can I afford this? Have I used up all my holidays for the year? How am I going to pay the rent? Will I be able to deduct my pension? What dreams will I have to sacrifice because I can't afford to pursue them? The most important lesson from this video was never about the nature of money. It was about the one valuable resource that we all have. The one resource we will never be able to reclaim. Time. Is giving up a large chunk of your time towards a job that you probably don't like worth it? Is your life settled on working, coming home, watching the telly, sleeping, waking up the next day, and repeating the same cycle till you retire? How many more hours of your life do you let slip through because of this pattern? Or perhaps you're fine with that reality. Perhaps you have no other choice but to follow that path for the time being. And if that's the case, there's nothing to worry about. The most you got from this video was a little entertainment and maybe a change of perspective. But there are those of you that understand the other side. Those of you that have the desire to never need to worry about money ever again. And so I need to remind you, stop chasing money. Chase problems and find the solution to those problems. This is the equation through which all money is found. If you desire liberty through never needing to worry about money ever again, then let solving problems be the meaningful struggle in your life. Does it mean you'll be happy at the end of the road? Does it mean you can answer that question? But if your struggle is meaningful, then perhaps it's worth pursuing. And there it is, your equation to wealth. Of course, I missed out on a lot of intricacies in this video. The topics of business, money, entrepreneurship are far too vast for me to cover in a single video like this. But if you do want to get started on this journey, I do recommend you read the works of MJ DeMarco, who heavily inspired me to create this video. And it's also important to come back to an original point that I made at the start of this, which is that most people will not succeed for various reasons. But the most important part is failing fast, and moving on to the next thing. And if you're out there doing something that isn't strictly related to a business, but you want it to make money, then asking yourself the question of what problems am I solving could lead you to find ways of better monetizing whatever it is that you're doing. And that also includes a job and a career. If you can solve more problems and find more solutions at your place of employment, you have something that you can use to leverage a higher salary. But I will end this all on the same message that I've repeated numerous times in this video. Stop chasing money and start chasing solutions to problems.
What's going on, fellow entrepreneurs? In this video, I'm going to teach you how I made over $200 in a day drop servicing this one high income skill. It means I'm selling this one high income skill or service without actually doing the work myself. It's what you kind of call a sales or service arbitrage, where you outsourcing the work at a big markup. So all I gotta do is sit back while somebody else does the work for me and enjoy the profits in the middle. And this is really going to be a video that I don't want you to miss if you're really serious about making money online and building a big business online. So I suggest saving this video down below if you do want to watch this later, if you can't watch it now. And as well with the strategy, you're not going to need any kind of website. You don't need any skills because, just like I said, you're not doing any of the work yourself. I'm going to show you exactly the tools that I've been using, and I'm going to show you how to set this up straight from the beginning with an easy step-by-step process that any of you guys can follow in any country in the world. So without further ado, let's get straight into my PC. But quickly, if you are new to the channel, my name is Jay and I'm super passionate in documenting my journey in making money online on this channel at the same time, so that you can watch my videos, get learn a lot of value, hopefully replicate that and get some exclusive insight into the online world. As like I say, the best way to make money online is educating yourself and developing high income skills, which is what I want to provide on my channel. So if you want to get the latest tips, tricks and ways to make money online on a daily basis, subscribe down below with the bell on so that I can send you a personal message every time I release a value-packed video just like this one, so that you can be the first to that and beat the competition online and essentially make the most money online. But without further ado, we're going to get straight into the strategy. Okay, so I really hope you guys are ready for this one. So we are here now inside of my PC on Google, and the first platform that I'm going to show you guys, and when you see it, don't click off, one of the most powerful platforms around is actually Instagram. So you can get the Instagram app on your mobile device, whether it's Android or Apple. You can sign up a free Instagram account with your username, your password, and then you can sign in like this. And what I want you to do is I want you to go and create a professional looking profile with a nice bio. You don't have to worry about any links in the description and that. This is just my profile. You can see I've just got a little bit about myself. I sell stuff online, YouTuber, the grind, my South African little ZA flag that actually only shows on the mobile device. But you just want to go and create a professional looking Instagram account. You can head over to Google and you can search professional bio examples and create something out of that. But make sure to keep watching. I'm really going to go through this in thorough, but also not going to waste your time. So let's go to the next step. And also quickly, you don't need any followers, so don't worry about my follow account. I've been working on this page for quite some time. You don't need to start off with any followers. You actually don't need any followers for the strategy. And also remember, this is not going to be affiliate marketing or selling any products or anything like that. This is all about selling high income skills, especially the one that I'm going to show you now, this one particular service where you can really make literally 200% profits. And like I said, you're not doing the work yourself. And right before I show you this particular platform or service that made me over $200 per day, all I would like is leave a like on this video down below if you're enjoying this so far. I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe down below with the bell on, and also leave a comment down below if you want any more information or want to ask any questions about drop servicing specifically, and I will answer your questions down there. But without further ado, let's head over to the next platform. And the next and the second platform that we're going to visit is called viralrace.com, where you can go and buy Instagram followers that are either instant or gradual. But what's really nice about this platform, don't worry, we're not buying any followers or anything like that ourselves. You can buy real and engaging followers that actually engage with your account. Like I said, you're not going to be spending any money on this. You're not going to be buying any followers yourself. You're not going to be buying any real likes or engagement for your Instagram page. What you want to do is you want to click on buy real followers. So I quickly want to show you how much these are selling for. So like I said, we're not buying any of this ourselves. You can see that the cheapest package at 100 followers is selling at $2.99. They've got a very high retention rate, engaging users, real and instant or gradual followers that come over time. 1,000 followers all the way up to 10,000 followers for $99. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use these followers to make a lot of money up to date today. But remember, we're not buying this ourselves. This is, again, not affiliate marketing. We're not going to go spam affiliate links anywhere or anything like that. This is really a new, unique way of drop servicing that I recently found. And also, just a quick disclaimer, I'm not an affiliate for this website. I'm not getting paid anything to promote this website. I'm just here because this is one of the better buy Instagram followers and Instagram likes tools that I've found around, with definitely some of the best pricing around as well. So I'm just promoting this out of my own interest because I'm using it myself. So now that you understand a little bit about Viral Race, and now that you've seen what these followers are going for and what you can pay or what someone would pay for these kind of followers, I want you to come over to this website over here called insta-sale/listings over here, where you can actually see people that are selling Instagram accounts. I've got another one here as a kind of as an alternative called socialtrader.com, but let's just stick to instasale.com for now. Yeah, you can see Social Trader, which is just another alternative to perhaps use as well to even make more money online. Okay, so I couldn't really find what I'm looking for on this specific page. I'm going to explain to you now what I'm looking for. So I just quickly came over to the buy and sell Instagram page on Social Trader, and I did actually find what I'm looking for. Have a look at this. If this page over here with 29.9k followers is selling for $450, and this page over here, for example, with, let's say, this one here, let me scroll down a little bit, here, with 4k followers is only selling at 150 followers, if they were a page with perhaps 14k followers, they could at least add an extra $150 to $200 to their price. Because obviously a page with more followers, more engaging followers and likes definitely has a lot more value, and the seller of this page could obviously increase their price for that. And also remember, we're not going to be selling any accounts on here. We're not going to be buying these followers on our own accounts and then reselling that. We are coming here just to have a look at other people's accounts so we can make use of the followers on ViralPlace to make a lot of money online. So make sure to keep watching to understand what I'm going to show you right now. And you can also use this example over here. For example, Teen Shot with 29.9k followers selling at $4.50, and this page over here with 66,000 followers selling at $1.1k. For example, if they had an extra 10k followers, they could at least add an extra $200 or $300 to their price and make even $200 to $300 more on their sale. So I'm going to show you now how you're going to make money, how these guys are going to make money, and how this platform is also going to make money. So essentially what's really great about this is a win-win-win amongst everybody on this platform. But the most important part obviously is that you're going to make money from this, while at the same time helping other people make more money with this. So it's also something that you can feel good about. And that's why I also really like about the strategy and found it to be so successful. So that's why I really suggest that you save this video down below, because it is definitely going to be one of my best drop servicing make money online videos on my channel so far. So essentially what I'm up to is, let's say for example this page had an extra 10k followers. They could include an extra $200 or at least $200 up to $300 extra on their price, so they can make more money on their page. So what you can go and do is, for example, this page over here sells those 10,000 followers for $99. So for example, this page over here with an extra 10k followers at a cost of $99, they are actually making anywhere between $100 and $200 profit on those 10k followers that you have provided to them. So what you can do is you can go and sell this package at a markup, literally go and tell them about it, and both of you are then going to make more money online, because essentially they're selling their Instagram page for more and you're making money through your sale. And what you can do is you can tell them that they can get an extra 10k real engaging followers to the account, and for example you could tell them this is going for $200 or $250, and you are only paying these guys $99, and you are keeping anywhere between $100 and $150 in your pocket for literally doing no work at all. You don't have to get these followers yourself for them. You are literally just the man in the middle, moving the order over to these guys and keeping $100 to $150 in the middle as the middleman. And remember, these guys, let's say they add an extra $300 to their price. So let's quickly go 450 plus 300 minus, for example, the 200 that you charge them. They are now making a total of $550 on their gig or their Instagram page, so they're already making an extra $100. You're making an extra $100, and also remember, they are paying you first. They're making $100 pure profits, and these guys are also making their $100 on their 10k followers. So this, like I said, is a real win-win for everybody. But also, just to show you, this is not the only profile that exists on this platform. This is only the photography travel niche. If I come back to categories, have a look at all these different categories. For example, real estate and interior pages. You can see there's 5 of them here that you can use. Humor and memes, definitely something trending right now. You can see there's so many different pages, up to 3 pages. On Instagram page, you can see there's all the way up to 239, page 239. So there's so many people that you can go and use to go and drop service this off of to make money online. But make sure to keep watching, because obviously now we need to go and sell the service. And what I've been doing to do that, literally super simple. You don't need a landing page, you don't need to create your own website. Is just come over to Fiverr and create a simple Fiverr gig where you can say, I will get you 10k high quality, engaging, and loyal followers on Instagram. And you can, for example, list this. Okay, mine is just in rands. Your cost price is $99. You can go and set this at $250, which in my country is about 4,500 rand. Let's just see if I can. There we go. Yes, I can make this into dollars. That is perfect. Here we can see it's $9. So you can go and create a gig, list this at $250, and then what you can do is, once your gig is created on Fiverr, you can come back to these guys. You can click on make an offer, for example, offer price. You can go, for example, $250, your name, email address. In the offer notes, you can mention, hi there, I see you selling your page for $450. I really interested in your page. You want to show that you're interested in doing business. But what I thought of was, if you grow your page, for example, with an extra 10k followers, you can at least include an extra $200 to $300 on the price based on the competition in your niche on Social Tradia, so that you can also make an extra $200 to $300 sale on your page. And then what you can do is you can leave a link to your Fiverr gig, and then all you do is when you get that sale through your Fiverr gig, you're going to come over to Viral Race, place the order here, and keep your $100 to $150 in your pocket. So that's how powerful this is, because you can literally go and make anywhere between $100 and $200 or $300 per account that you do this with, drop servicing this particular service. But what I'm also going to show you is to even increase your revenue more is if you come to a platform like Influencer Cards, you come over to browse influencers, you can see people here. For example, these guys with 130k followers or 69k followers charge, let me just click on that page, the price will be here, from $5 for a shout out. So what you can do is you can message these guys. For example, when you sign in, there will be a message button, and you can say anything along the lines, hi there, I'm interested in getting a shout out from your channel, but I noticed you guys have 60 or just under 70k followers and you're charging $5, from $5 per shout out. Obviously, if you get more followers over time on your page, you can start to charge more and more for shout outs, essentially making more money through your Instagram page. There's the service that is charging $250 for 10,000 organic and real followers, and from there, again, you can suggest your Fiverr link to your Fiverr gig. They place the order with you, they get their 10k followers, and you also make your $100 to $200 on your drop servicing sale. And at the same time, these guys